Good evening, I am Ipulagi Singh Lama and these are the headlines of the hour. Community school teachers end their strike on 29th day today after striking an agreement with the government. Nagarik Unmukti Party patron Resam Chaudhary released after 5 hours in custody. Officer involved in his arrest taken into custody. Janamat calls it a ploy. US President Donald Trump commemorates his first 100 days in office, says his moves to impose tariffs could lead to a resurgence in domestic manufacturing. An Army club win in both men's and women's national hockey tournament matches. Men's team defeats Gandagi province 3-0, women's team defeat Madhya province 7-0. Welcome back. The government has agreed to the key proposals put forward by protesting teachers. In a dialogue held today at the Ministry of Education, both parties reached an agreement on the teachers' demands. During yesterday's round of talks, the Teachers Federation had presented a 9-point proposal. The government has agreed to provide a lump sum payment for sick leave benefits to relief, temporary, contract and learning grant teachers when they leave service. It also agreed to make salary arrangements for early childhood development (ECD) facilitators and school staff as per the government standards, and to ensure that all teachers, whether permanent or temporary, receive hardship allowances as per legal provisions. The other agreement are to include teachers in the official order of the precedents of the government of Nepal, aligning the salaries and grade of lower secondary first class teachers with that of secondary class second class teachers, providing teachers and school staff with subsidized medical treatment at government civil hospitals. The government also committed to pass the new Education Act by 9th of June, and in return, the teachers agreed to call off their protest. Additionally, the teachers have shown flexibility regarding the operation of the grade 12 exams, which are scheduled to begin on 3rd of May. Meanwhile, resident doctors have continued their protest as well. Talks with the government ended without resolution yesterday. Although the Medical Education Commission had agreed to implement a decision regarding the living allowance for resident doctors, disputes over the classification of their positions have prevented any consensus from being reached. Now, moving on, the court, in the process of implementing its orders and decisions, takes police assistance to arrest the accused. However, today, an officer from the Supreme Court has implicated both the court itself and the police. Mahimant Singh Bista, a section officer at the Supreme Court, went to the police with an order to send Resam Chaudhary, the patron of the Nagarik Unmukti Party, to prison. At 10 a.m., Chaudhary was taken to prison on the basis of that order, but by evening he was released based on another letter from the Supreme Court.
At around 11 a.m., Mahimant Singh Bista arrived at the District Police Office in Kathmandu with a letter from the Supreme Court. The letter, dated 17th of the Nepali calendar, had dispatch number 19277. It was issued by the Supreme Court's Criminal and Writ Division and stated that an accused in crimes of homicide, attempted murder and robbery should be sent to custody. That accused was Resam Chaudhary, who had been convicted by all 3 tiers of the judiciary for his involvement in the 2015 Tikapur incident in Kailali, where 8 security personnel, including a minor, were killed. However, in 2023, he was released from prison following a presidential pardon recommended by the government. The letter from the Supreme Court addressed to Delhi Bazar Prison with a copy to the Inspector General of Police requested assistance for arresting him wherever he might be found across the country. Since the letter came with the seal and signature of a Supreme Court official, the police did not question it further. After learning that Chaudhary was present at a unification event between the Janamat Party and Nagarik Unmukti Party, police arrived at the event venue. Bista went there with the police and took Chaudhary directly to Delhi Bazar prison, handing him over for custody. Meanwhile, commotion had already started within the Supreme Court. Questions arose regarding who ordered the arrest and when, and it took time to uncover the truth. Bista had submitted a letter bearing the official court seal and his own signature. In the letter, it was stated that Chaudhary had been sentenced to life imprisonment by the Supreme Court, But before the full text of the verdict was released, the crime was politicized and Chaudhary received a presidential pardon. The reason for imprisonment cited in the letter was a precedent in which the Supreme Court had overturned a pardon given to Regal Thakal. However, the case against Chaudhary challenging his pardon is still under review by the Supreme Court. Bista's letter referred to the decision dated May 16, 2023, stating that Chaudhary should be sent to prison as per the court's decision. Since implementing court's decisions falls under their duty, the police accepted the letter without much doubt. But later, another letter from the Supreme Court confirmed that Bista had acted on his own. This second letter stated that Chaudhary's case is still sub judice and ordered his immediate release, after which he was freed. Bista has now been detained at the District Police Office in Kathmandu and legal proceedings have begun against him. Under Section 84 of the Criminal Code, he could face up to 1 year in prison for providing false information, under Section 87 up to 6 months for disobeying a court order, and under Section 276 a forgery charge could also be filed.
जोसँग जोडिएको पत्रमा उल्लेखित जोडिएको मुद्दाहरू हामीसँग विचाराधीन रहेको अवस्थामा पत्र गएको भनेर जुन जसरी आयो त्यसपछि हामीले मिसलहरू हेर्दाखेरि त्यो पत्र आधिकारिक नभएको हाम्रो निष्कर्ष रह्यो र हामीले त्यो पत्र चाहिँ आधिकारिक नभएको हुँदाखेरि त्यो पत्र बमोजिम पत्रमा लेखिए बमोजिम चाहिँ त्यो आदेशहरू कार्यान्वयन नगराउनु र यदि त्यो पत्रको आधारमा रेशम चौधरीलाई पक्राउ गरिसकेको हो भनेदेखि थुनामुक्त गरिदिनु भनेर आजै हामीले पत्र पनि लेख्यौं र त्यो अनधिकृत पत्र लेखिएको विषयमा हाम्रो प्रशासनिक तौरबाट हामीले एउटा आवश्यक छानबिन अनुसन्धान पनि गर्ने निचोडमा हामी पुगेका छौं र
यो नहुनुपर्ने घटना भयो। भविष्यका लागि यसले धेरै ठूलो पाठ सिकाउँछ, तर पाठ सिकाउने क्रममा पनि नियन्त्रणका तहहरू बढाउने प्रक्रिया जटिल हुने किसिमको घटना हुनु हुँदैन। मेरो विचारमा यो विगतमा पनि नभएको घटना र भविष्यमा पनि नहुने जस्तो घटना जस्तो म देख्छु यसलाई।
The incident of Resham Chaudhary's arrest and release has raised serious questions about the level of negligence within Supreme Court. The writ filed by the wife of Police Inspector Keshav Vista, who was killed in the Tikapur incident, is still under consideration by the Apex Court.
It is time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before that, let's take a look at yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we had asked you, why does Nepali Congress often experience internal disputes over government and party affairs? Your 30% voted for A, democratic practice, 54% voted for B, lack of internal discipline, and 16% voted for C, prevalence of factional politics. Now here's today's question. What do you think of the arrest and then the release of Resham Chaudhary a few hours later? Your options are A, lapses on part of the Supreme Court, B, lack of coordination within police administration, or C, result of negligence. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Welcome back. Journalists have criticized the government for treating the issue of climate change lightly and failing to adequately inform the public. Speaking at an interaction program organized by the Press Council Nepal today, participants pointed out the lack of concrete government efforts to both claim damages caused by climate change and educate citizens about its impact. The event focused on climate change, Sagarmatha dialogue, and the role of media, due concern over the government's lack of preparation ahead of the Sagarmatha dialogue scheduled for May 16 to 18. Journalists emphasized the need to engage media actively to ensure public awareness and participation. Editor-in-Chief of Kantipur Television, Vijay Paudel, highlighted that the Sagarmatha dialogue must go beyond formality and effectively communicate the real impacts of climate change to the general public.
सबैलाई बिर्सेर न्युजरूम स्ट्र्याटेजी मात्रै बनायो भने हामी सक्सेस हुन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ।
यो पृथ्वीको सरदर तापक्रम 1 डिग्री सेल्सियस बढ्दैछ र यसै गरी बढ्यो भने चाहिँ यो शताब्दीको अन्तिमसम्म 4 डिग्री सेल्सियसले बढ्छ भनेर अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय रूपमा वैज्ञानिकहरूले भनेको कारणले गर्दाखेरि आज नेपालले सगर्माथा संवाद गर्न खोजेको होला।
Speaking at the program, Secretary of the Ministry of Forests and Environment Rajesh Misra and Press Council Nepal Chairperson Balkrishna Basnet also called for support from both national and international media.
एउटा रिकग्नाइज के गर्ला भने नेपाली मिडियाले सगरमाथा संवादको सन्देशलाई एउटा क्युमुलेटिभ एउटा पोइन्ट हो तर डाइभर्सिफाइड तरिकाले कभर गरिरहेछ भन्ने कुरा जान्छ होला त्यो सचिवालयको तर्फबाट सबै मिडियाका मित्रहरूलाई अनुरोध हो
जलवायु परिवर्तनको समस्या जुन नेपालमा देखिरहेछ त्यसको परिणाम चाहिँ नेपालले र नेपालले मात्रै हैन नेपालमा देखिएको समस्या चाहिँ अरु देशले पनि भोग्दैछन् त्यसकारणले यो समस्यालाई चाँडो सुल्झाउनु पर्छ न्यूनीकरण गर्नुपर्छ यसको हल गर्नको लागि हामी सबै एक ठाउँमा आउनुपर्छ र हाम्रा मिडिया कन्टेन्टहरु यतातिर हुनुपर्छ.
The upcoming Sagarmatha dialogue is expected to bring together national and international delegates to discuss climate change issues and Nepal's role in global climate policy. In our Public Voice segment today, we have asked in several provinces what policies and programs should the government prioritize. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
राष्ट्रिय गौरवका आयोजनाहरूलाई जुन अलपत्र परेका छन् त्यसलाई सम्पन्न गर्ने किसिमका बजेटहरू प्रस्तुत गर्नु पर्यो.
दिगो विकासलाई चाहिँ मुख्य आधार बनाएर
जनताको लागि हुनु पर्यो, नेतामुखी चाहिँ हुनु भएन.
कृषकहरूलाई प्रोत्साहन गर्ने किसिमका कार्यक्रमहरू चाहिँ सरकारले ल्याउनु पर्छ.
व्यापक रोजगारी सृजना गर्ने खालको नीति तथा कार्यक्रमहरू समावेश गर्नुपर्छ.
स्वास्थ्य, शिक्षा, उद्योग, मैत्री नीतिहरू ल्याउन जरुरी छ.
पहाडका भूगोलहरू रित्ता हुँदै गइरहेका छन्. तिनी भूगोलहरूलाई सरकारले न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य तोकेर यो चाहिँ सरकारीकरण गरेर भोलि व्यावसायिक खेतीको लागि स्थानीय तहले प्रयोजन गर्न सक्ने खालको
पर्यटनलाई छोड्नु भएन.
उद्योग तथा पर्यटनहरुमा चाहिँ विशेष चाहिँ अब कार्यक्रमहरू चाहिँ सरकारले ल्याउनु पर्छ.
दलित युवाहरूलाई अथवा दलितहरुका सवालमा सम्बोधन गर्नका लागि नीति तथा कार्यक्रममा ल्याउन सकेन भने फेरि भएका दलितहरुको क्षमता अथवा सिप यो प्लान हुँदै जान्छ.
युवा लक्षित कार्यक्रम प्लस कृषिलाई प्रवर्धन गर्ने
जो वैदेशिक रोजगारमा गएका मान्छेहरू छन् तिनीहरूलाई नेपालमै रोजगार दिन सक्ने किसिमको योजना आओस्.
Sports news.
Today's matches of the National Men's and Women's Hockey Tournament, the Army Club secured victories in both the men's and women's categories. In both games held at the Chaisal Stadium, the Army kept a clean sheet and emerged victorious. In the first match of the day, the Army Club defeated Gandaki Province 3-0. Despite Gandaki's strong defense, the Army managed to score 3 goals and take control of the game. With this, the Army made a winning start to the tournament. The first quarter of the scheduled 60-minute match ended goalless. However, in the 9th minute of the second quarter, Pradeep Rajwanshi scored a field goal for the Army, giving them the lead. His shot deflected off the goalkeeper's foot and went into the post. In the third quarter, the Army added another goal when Kasiraj Rai scored from a ball coming from outside the shooting circle. In the 8th minute of the same quarter, Dev Singh Dhami scored from a penalty corner, bringing the final score to 3-0. In today's second men's match, Nepal Police defeated Karnali Province with a wide margin of 9-0. Nisant Bhar scored 2 goals for the police. They made 7 field goals, 1 penalty corner goal and 1 penalty stroke goal. In the women's match held today, the Army defeated Madhya Province by a significant margin of 7-0. The Army kept a clean sheet and started the tournament with a win. Seema Khadka, Nilima Pandey and Kamala Chand each scored 2 goals for the Army. They had already built a 4-0 lead in the first quarter and maintained that momentum to secure the victory. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.